Hello everyone, in this week's tutorial video, I'd like to discuss how to work with costumes in Scratch, including backdrop costumes. You may notice how by default, you have two costumes on your first character, named Costume 1, Costume 2, all lowercase, no spaces, and that they are both images composed of vector images, which you can see by highlighting different parts of the image. You can also convert it to a raster, aka bitmap image. Although since vectors are easier to work with and that they automatically rescale the resolution each time they are changed, bitmap images are generally not needed, except in the case of a still image, like a background. Also, on the vector and bitmap editing menus, the Scratch developers have given you options to paint over the image or edit parts of the image using very basic tools, but since it is very watered down compared to the software we have worked with earlier, you would be better off using software like the software shown in the first unit, and then only using the image as a costume after you are satisfied with your digital editing skills. There is also an option to delete the costumes, marked by the trash can with an X in the middle on each costume. And there's an option at the bottom to add a costume. The first option is use your camera, and uses a camera built into your computer. Although generally, realistic photos would be too detailed for games, so we would probably edit out most of the details to make it cartoony in something like Photoshop before we used it as a costume. The next option is Upload Costume, which browses your desktop for an image file. Although it says that it accepts all type of files, we should stick to JPEG or PNG. The next option is Surprise, which generates a random image created by the Scratch development team. Although due to how random it is, it's not that useful for professional game development, as we want consistency between our frames. The option after that is Paint, using the options that Scratch gives you to paint with. And the final option is Choose a Costume, which is like Surprise in that it uses the images given to you by the team. Except this time, you can pick any one you want. It is not randomly given to you. The more costumes you have for an object, the more smoother an animation you can make, but also the more data intensive it will be, because the more costumes that will have to be loaded each second. Now that I've gone over how to use costumes for objects, I can discuss costumes for backdrops. Unlike regular objects, the background is always the same amount of pixels, and it is exactly 480 pixels wide and 360 pixels tall. This means that you should have a minimum resolution of 360p for your background image in order for it to look nice. However, this is where the differences end, as you can always paint a new backdrop using the paint options given to you by the Scratch programmers. Use your camera, upload an image from your desktop, use a surprise option, or choose one of the pre-made images made by the developers. Exactly like how it worked with the costumes for the objects. The only difference is the resolution of the background is constant, while the resolution of the other images is not. The last thing to note about costumes is that for all costumes except background, they will have a collision box, meaning the boundaries of the object that determine how it collides with other objects. That will exactly fit on the outside perimeter of the object. This means that an object made out of more complicated curves will take up more data for its collision box than one made out of straight lines, as the curves would be approximated using the straight lines. Now that I've gone over comprehensively how to work with costumes in Scratch, I can discuss how to work with audio starting next week. Don't forget to subscribe if you found this video informative, and make sure to see other tutorial videos, and follow me on either Facebook or Twitter for more content.